Coming to a YouTube channel near you.
Saying hello to everybody tonight. Thanks for joining us. We've got a good show. I'm excited about this one. I mean, I like them all, but at the same time, this one's going to be really special. Say hello to people. I know I saw Roger Blair hiding in here. Roger, how you doing? Michelle's joining us. Always grateful to see people pop in, especially on a Friday night when there's lots to be going on. Tonight, we're not going to waste much time with introductions and hello because we will get right to this. We are blessed to have Heather with us and from Small Town Monsters, and we are going to be talking about how this amazing film, Dawn of the Dogman, came together. I'm very blessed to be a very little part of it and was amazed that I actually made the final cut. So without further ado, let's bring Heather out here and find out how this came together and how it actually wound up being a really great watch. You guys really need to pay attention to this. So, hello, Heather.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and to talk to you in person.
Yeah. Last time it was just a quick voiceover and stuff. So, how you doing?
I am doing well. Been pretty busy here between, just family life, but also work. We're gearing up for a really large shoot that starts at the end of next week. So trying to get everything in order for that. And yeah, that's pretty much my main focus right now.
Yeah, I see a lot of promotions. Looks like 2026 is going to be a big year for you guys at Small Town Monsters.
Yeah. Yep, we're gearing up for the Kickstarter. It launches on February 5th, and so we've been letting out the sneak peeks of some of the rewards that'll be coming, and we announced the main projects that we're covering for 2026 for the Kickstarter anyway, and then a couple books in the works. And yeah, it's a lot, but it's fun. It's exciting.
You got some fans in here, which is great to see. I really appreciate anybody joining us on Friday night. So, well, for those who don't, how did Heather get into cryptids, let alone lead into the Small Town Monsters team?
Well, the cryptid stuff I've always been interested in, even before I knew the term cryptid. I grew up watching Unsolved Mysteries and got one of my first scares, I guess, watching an episode on Nettie when they were talking about the mummified hand that they supposedly have. I just, as a kid, had nightmares of this hand reaching out and grabbing my door and slamming it shut or something. And so, but I loved it. Even though it terrified me, I still enjoyed all of that. In elementary school, there was a classmate of mine whose family had some Bigfoot activity on their property. So it was just something that's kind of always been there, always been talked about in one way or another. Same thing with the paranormal. My parents were pretty open about that kind of thing. So it was just something that caught my interest at a young age. And then I kept following it along. And even when I went to college, I went into a completely different field, but every time that I got a chance to kind of bring it back, navigate things back to something spooky or, monsters or ghosts or something like that, I made sure that I found a way to do so.
So from there, did you have encounters up until this point? Anything spooky that sticks out?
Yeah. So the house that I grew up in had odd things happen. From hearing footsteps go down the hall, what I would think was my dad waking up in the middle of the night, because when you're living with your parents, you get to hear and learn their footsteps. And so I knew if it was mom up and walking versus dad up and walking in the middle of the night, and I would hear what it sounded like my dad get up in the middle of the night and walk down the hallway to the kitchen, and I'd wait to hear him come back. Eventually, a few minutes go by and I'm thinking there's something wrong. So I get up to check and everybody's asleep. So there were footsteps. There were moments of things getting moved around and misplaced. Really very innocuous things. It was, like the oven mitt or whatever would would be gone for a while and then it would just show up right in the middle of the stove. It was really, I don't know. It was odd, but the creepy, it wasn't even creepy. It's unfair to actually call it creepy. The paranormal thing that really hit me when I was younger was whenever I was a teenager at the time, young teen, probably middle school ish. My parents were not home. They had gone shopping or something, and I was at home with the dogs and the cats. And I was sitting in the living room watching TV. All the animals are out in the living room. And all of a sudden, they all stop what they're doing, and they're staring behind me. And I'm like, that's odd. So I turn around and look, and I see someone in the entryway behind me that leads to the dining room. And the feeling that I had was, oh, it's dad. Because it just felt like family in a way. It felt protective. It just felt like my dad. So I thought, oh, it's just dad. And I turned back around, and then it registered in my brain that didn't look anything like my dad, the man that I saw in the entryway. Turned around, and it's gone by that point. The animals have resumed their normal behaviors. But that was the one that I saw something pretty clearly. And I don't know, just growing up with stuff like that. No cryptid stuff until I got into this world with small town monsters. Or at least not that I'm aware of. I actually, we've done some research and interviews around the location where I grew up. We've taken Cliff Barrickman back in the woods there, and we caught a howl, something like a howl in distance. But hearing that howl that went off, Cliff said, "Did you get that on camera?" And we said, "Yes." And he's like, "Good." When playing that back, I heard that sound whenever I was younger. But it sounds like an ambulance. Just the one long call of an ambulance. It's not repetitive or anything, just one long howl. And in my head when I was younger, oh, it's an ambulance, even though it never clicked that the alarm never kept going. It was just one time. But I don't know. It's something that didn't cross my mind until I was older and got, like I said, started looking into this. But yeah.
So how did this come about? I mean, because this is a pretty crazy. I mean, I say crazy as in cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Very bad to all of a sudden you're stepping into this new world, the small town monsters.
Yeah. No, it can be crazy. Like literally, it can be wild. Well, I grew up in a little town called Carrollton, and the next town over is Minerva. That's where I am now. So I didn't go very far. But Minerva is known for, in cryptid circles, the Minerva monster from the 70s, a Bigfoot story from the 70s, the late 70s. And when Seth started Small Town Monsters, the very first film that he made was Minerva Monster. Well, anybody that is familiar with small towns knows that something like that can't really be made without everybody talking about it. Everybody's sharing. Did you hear that there's a movie coming around about Minerva, the Minerva monster? And so that caught my attention, like, oh, somebody's made a documentary about the Minerva monster. How cool. So I watched it. And then I watched the next one, Beast of Whitehall, and I watched Boggy Creek. And then he got to Mothman of Point Pleasant. That one really stuck with me. And I actually reached out to Seth and started talking with him and told him how much I appreciate the clear effort that he was putting into it. Not only, going to these locations, but he was looking into the history and the folklore and stuff behind it. And I really appreciated that as a historian. And we just kept talking, and I kept watching what he was making. And then at one of the local premieres, because he would premiere films at the Canton Palace Theater, so I would go to see these on the big screen. And at one of them, they had a question and answer panel afterwards, and he mentioned that they would be doing the Bell Witch at some point in the near future. And the Bell Witch was actually a topic that I had been researching on my own. And so I sent him another message, and I'm like, hey, if you help on that research wise, I've already looked into it. I can, lend a hand. And he's like, yeah, let's try it out. And actually he brought me on for Momo, which was a couple prior to Bell Witch, but it just started off with, I would call it light research assistance in the beginning, to so much more now. Producer, I got to direct the Monroe Monster in the summer with Courtney, and I don't know, I've held a camera for the first time this last year. Like, there's just been so many things that have just exponentially grown for me since the first. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of research. I'll try to track down some names. It's just gone on and on. And we have a publishing company now that I help run, and I don't know, it's just, it's a lot, and it's really exciting, and I'm really glad that I get to be a part of it.
I mean, that's a heck of a journey, especially in how many years has it been? It hasn't been that long, right?
No, the company set, like, the first movie came out in 2015, but I didn't come into helping with anything until 2019, I think. So I guess at this point it's been 6 years ish, not quite 7. So yeah, it's been a lot in a short amount of time. And it's wild to think back. In a lot of ways, things seem like they were yesterday, and other times certain memories are like a whole lifetime ago. It's just because of the sheer amount of stuff that we've done. And we grow every year. So it's always evolving and learning new things and meeting new people, which is my favorite part of it.
Yeah, because you guys crank out the content, and it's not like the quality suffers at all. If anything, it gets better.
I appreciate
like the more
that.
practice you get, you're doing. Hey,
Yeah,
Misty.
it's a really small crew.
So, I mean, the hours you guys must put in on this are morning till bedtime.
Yeah, it actually, all of this gets, it does seem like that sometimes. It's morning till bedtime. I am able to fortunately work from home a lot of the time, and that allows a flexible schedule, but it is constant stuff that we're working on, or if we're not actively working on something, we're thinking about it, how to approach something in a new way or a better way, or different camera angles that we could try. Just it's just a constantly flowing thought process, really.
And there is so much to choose from. How do you guys figure which one is okay? We'll do it about this one, but we're not going to do that one.
Well, a lot of them are, for one, things that we've wanted to cover. So there's a handful of topics that we've wanted to cover in some format. It's just, when can we get to it? When does the schedule allow it, kind of thing. Right now, a lot of our content is Bigfoot, and Dogman is a close second related. And a lot of that is dictated by also what our audience is receptive to. We have expanded and tried different areas. Kind of, the Bell Witch was a little bit different. Jersey Devil was a totally different cryptid. Of course, Mothman. People love Mothman. But we've tried to branch out into different things here and there to kind of test the waters a little bit. And out of this moment, some of that has not been nearly as popular. So we're trying to slowly expand, but we can't just go all in. Like, it'd really be cool to just cover any cryptid that we wanted to, but the reality is, the time and the effort we put into it when our audience doesn't want it also makes it kind of tough.
What's your channel? Why don't you get a couple questions in here?
Yeah, Small Town Monsters. Just go to the Small Town Monsters YouTube channel.
You have a personal one though, too, right?
I don't have a personal YouTube channel.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. Not a YouTube channel. I have Facebook.
Mothman, for something that doesn't seem like occur very often, it seems like Mothman does get a lot of love. I mean,
yeah,
deep dive in that. Have you been able to hit on your dream topic yet, your bucket list topic, or is that still coming down the road?
No, I think we've hit my favorite ones as of this moment. I obviously the Bell Witch from the gate was one of my favorites. Rougarou is my baby, just because of how much I got to be involved in the creation of that one. That was really special to me. I wanted us to cover Goatman, and we did get to cover Goatman. I'd love to revisit that at some point, if possible. We'll see. Wendigo, Jason Hewlett covered that for one of our specials, and that was really exciting. Because when people ask me what my favorite cryptid is, I've always gauged it off of which ones I'm most fearful of and would never want to run into. I don't ever want to see a goat man. I don't even care for goats as they are. They freak me out because their eyes are weird. So to see like one on two legs that looks murderous, I have no desire to come in contact with that. So that's why that one. Wendigo, I feel like, needs no explanation as to why it's terrifying. So that one's always been intriguing for me. Dogman's a little different. I absolutely never want to see a Dogman. And that's it. I don't hear good stories. Not very often. I guess I've heard maybe one that was when we were doing Rougarou, where when the Rougarou appeared, it still used fear though, but it wasn't the witness didn't describe it as like an evil type feeling, where that's something that you hear more often than not when you talk to witnesses who've encountered Dogman. It's pure evil feeling, and I have no desire to be around that.
No, I'm with you on that one. I'll say downright outright that I've been blessed personally for me not to have seen a Dogman. I mean, we've talked about, and what we'll get to right now, right here, people, check it out. I just haven't heard of them come to a good conclusion. There's yeah, I don't want to see one. I don't want to even think I've seen one. It doesn't want to come. But
correct. It's never good. Yeah.
Yep, who do we have up there? Oh, Martin Gross, Dogman Werewolves is definitely scary and evil. Yeah,
Martin would know.
Yeah. So bringing us to Dawn of the Dogman, how did this idea come about?
For Dawn of the Dogman, we wanted to. I mean, we've touched upon Dogman in different venues, from Beast of Bray Road, of course, and Linda Godfrey was heavily involved in that. Then we got to talk about Dogman in different areas like Texas with Aaron Deese's work, and then Land Between the Lakes as well. But one thing that kept coming up every time we would talk about Dogman is you would continue to hear, when are you going to Michigan? Dogman is in Michigan. He started in Michigan. Like, this is something that we've heard for a while. And so we're like, you know what? Let's go see where this started. So that was kind of the impetus for that. Was people kept asking for us to go to Michigan, and it made total sense. We hadn't really looked into it. And what was really special was that when we started looking into different witnesses, the stories and everything, we actually went back through the footage that they had shot during Beast of Bray Road, which was before I was involved with the company. But I went back and watched Linda Godfrey's interview. And in it, she spoke about an encounter that she had in Michigan. And that was not on Beast of Bray Road because it wasn't relevant to the story that was being told in Beast of Bray Road. But we had it, and it hadn't been used yet. And it was so exciting to have that piece of her story that we were able to put into Dawn of the Dogman, and have that, her memory continue to go. Because even today, there is no one else that you think of first when you talk about Dogman researchers before you think of Linda Godfrey. That's the way it is. I don't know if that changes anytime in the near future. And so it was really cool to have that. And then to just start looking into the lore in general of Michigan, and seeing there were different stories that have evolved over time. Of course, there's the famous The Legend song that came out. And then to hear from Steve Cook, the one who created the song, that was really, really neat too. So I don't know. It was us kind of going where people had asked us to go, and it absolutely fit into something that we also wanted to investigate on our own.
It's funny because of the fact that, I've grown up here, and Bigfoot's been part of my life since I was little. But Dogman really came about hearing that song, The Legend. And I live in the same town Steve Cook put that song out. So when he talks about the Morning Man, I was the Morning Man's personal trainer for like 2 years. So I knew who he was talking about. But when that legend came out, I mean, I remember the scare it put through people up here. And it was so cool to be able, because even around town, there were different versions of why that song came out. You know how it is around small towns, where if somebody doesn't know the whole truth, they'll add their own truth to it, and then that's the truth that they'll spread, where it's not the complete truth.
Yeah.
So it was a Halloween prank. It was a secret way to get out information in a coded way, and some of it was pretty hysterical. So when you got Steve on it, was really fun, and to get the whole version, and the fact that you guys didn't chop up his interview the way another show did. You actually showed where those proceeds went instead of making it look like
Oh
a
yeah.
grab for Steve. So there were some things I was surprised, and I don't know why, but I if it was mentioned in passing, I missed it. The Gable film. If you remember that whole deal.
Yeah. So that was referenced in the movie. Linda Godfrey references it, I think, without saying the Gable film. I don't think she said the actual title, if I remember
I was
correctly,
wondering
everything that she
if
said.
that was where it came out to be a hoax.
Yeah, she yeah, I'm absolutely pretty certain that it's in her interview in Dawn of the Dogman where she references that film. That was something, the Gable film came across my radar while doing research for this, and as far as everything coming together, I guess story-wise, I guess thematically, maybe for me, it didn't make sense to kind of cover that because, well, one, it's a hoax. So, I mean, there is merit to talking about that as far as that goes. I just didn't think that it made sense to put it in the film when we're trying to focus on people's actual sightings.
Gotcha.
And kind of the evolution of the story over time and the influence of the legend. So I just didn't. I felt like we should sort of steer clear of it, so to speak, not out of fear or anything like that. It just didn't, to me, it didn't make sense to include it based off of how we were wanting to showcase people's stories.
Yeah, so more like you were trying to, how do I want to put this, build steam, because the Gable footage had people talking about it, but then they wound up talking about it for the wrong reason. So you were building steam on credible accounts.
Yeah, it's like I said, we've talked about. I mean, some of the films there's been discussion of hoaxes, like in Momo. There was a witness who admitted that she had made tracks, that she was a kid and she made some tracks in the garden, and then her parents saw it, and it kind of got carried away. And as a kid, she just decided to not say a word to like give herself away. And then it has since become one of those repeated sections of the Momo story. Like, well, they found a footprint, but she now says, well, I made that footprint. So we've included stories of that before, but I don't know, for this, I think we needed to focus on the stories of the people who've actually seen it, and experienced it, and just focus on that.
Yeah, because watching, it's very rare I don't pause to get up to get a pop or something. But I didn't have pause once. Once it got into the encounters, it was like, holy crap. I'd never heard this guy. I never heard this guy. And the ones with multiple encounters were just so. How many people did you wind up interviewing? Do you remember?
Well, because I knew we were going to talk about this, I brought up the itinerary from the trip. So actually, there were 1, 2, 3, 4. So there were 10 interviews total. While the crew was in Michigan, they interviewed 10 people. Not all of them were put into the film, again, for the flow of everything. Hopefully we'll be able to find a way to use their interviews for some other project down the road. But whenever these stories start to come together, sometimes there's a certain flow that just comes out in the edit that you can't necessarily anticipate until that point. So there were a couple that aren't in the film that were interviewed, but a lot were.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, if you put out a director's cut, I'm all over it. So those interviews
I'll
going
let
there,
Seth know.
Tell Seth I'm all over a director's cut. So
Okay.
was Steve easy to get a hold of? Was he pretty?
Yeah. Well,
tried to.
okay. Yes, he was once the initial thread was made there, the initial connection. I ended up reaching out to a local radio station that he had once worked at and said, "Hey, I'm trying to find him. Can you help me?" And they must have sent my message on to him, because the next thing I knew, his email was in the inbox. He said, I heard you're trying to get a hold of me. I'm like, actually, yes, I am. I am trying to get a hold of you. Would you be up for talking with us? And he his big thing is that with all the, I guess, success from that particular song, his big thing is that while talking about this, ultimately what he wants for people to care for local animal shelters, take care of local rescues and things like that. And so that was he mentioned how he's done fundraisers and stuff for that particular thing, local shelters and rescues, how that has kind of been what he's decided to do with the fame from that particular song.
Yeah, and that's so he had retired at that point when you guys talked to him?
I guess. I don't know. I didn't ask him what he was doing now.
Gotcha.
But I don't think he's at that radio station any longer. So I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. Because like I said, the radio station is like right here, 2 miles from my doorstep. So, and
yeah,
they showed his retirement party.
Mm.
So, and they showed a clip of where all of a sudden in walks the Dogman with a retirement cake, and they bang on Steve's door for to
That's
show for
awesome.
legends. So it was.
That's great.
Did he have any misgivings about doing this at all? Because I know the last show we did kind of really, I guess you would say, almost throw him under the bus instead of doing the opposite.
No, not really, because when I approached him and explained what we were doing, the way that we were going about it, as far as just matter of fact, you can tell us whatever you want as far as the creation. We're not asking for you to say that this was real or that you found actual documents that listed all of these particular sightings that you put into the song. Just tell us your story, the creation of it, and the influence that it's created on the community since then. And he also, when it comes to talking to witnesses or getting researchers, experts, whomever on camera, one thing that I am very fortunate to be able to fall back on is to send links to what we do so that he could see how we portray people, I guess, is in that they are who they are and there's not a spin on anything. And that helps tremendously. Especially for people who have been burned from other programs. When they can see what we do and see that we're not manipulating people's words or having some sort of agenda, it helps tremendously. So yeah, he didn't really hesitate to be involved after all of that was laid out there. He wasn't hesitant to begin with. I try to lead with that for a lot of people so that we don't have to. Because I also know, especially when it comes to witnesses, it's very sensitive to share your encounter, to share your story, and have it be a public thing with your face attached to it, not just a podcast and it's your voice, or you writing it in a book or anything to have a face out there. It's you, unmistakably you, telling this story. That's extremely vulnerable. And I understand that. And so I try to lead with, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what we've done. Make your decision based off of that. And if you don't want to be involved, I understand. But I sure hope you do.
The Daily Dose says, and she's going up there, it must make it difficult to get people to do interviews. How many platforms, even Netflix and Hulu, tend to make a mockery of people for sharing their stories. And
yeah, there's definitely that the concern of mockery. We've had witnesses that have been reluctant to talk to us because they did talk to some of the major networks, whatever. And there was one woman, she had a Dogman encounter story in Pennsylvania, actually. She was reluctant to talk to us at first because she said she didn't want to sign away her story. I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, the last time she was on a show, or they tried to get her on a show, they wanted her to sign away the rights to her story. As in, tell the story to us. It is now ours. You cannot say it that way again. It's ours. Like, we own it. And to me, that's absurd. And that's not how we work. But I've only ever worked for small town monsters. So I'm only hearing these stories from people who've been there in it, not from my personal experiences. But when witnesses continually, this comes up where people are either just fearful because of what they've seen on TV or have had bad experiences, then, it makes me very sympathetic to the witnesses that are nervous, because wouldn't you be?
yeah, I've heard some horror stories as well when people, I have a friend who did an interview, and it was like a 2-hour interview that he did, and everything went fine. But then after the end of the interview, that person had a subscription service, so everything was behind a paywall, and basically went 180 on him, and everything was burned him behind the paywall.
Oh,
so
that's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, he either believed him and then lied to the entire community, or the other way around. It was, and since then it's taken him off the circuit, which sucks because he's got some cool stories. But the whole
good.
While you guys were doing Dawn of the Dogman, the Joe Barger one, is that the most? Is that the one that sticks out most, or is there something else that?
Well, your family story sticks out the most in my mind because I can't imagine a dog being thrown through a window with a chain wrapped around its neck. Like, it just sounds terrifying. And then for the family to be up on the roof waiting to take care of it. It reminds me a little bit of the Hopkinsville story, where the family is at attention and trying to defend the house. But no, that story, I really like that one stuck out for me. Of course, Joe's story is one that has been covered in different mediums. but it was nice to have him be able to sit and openly discuss it. Again, without the edits to tweak it to make it different than what it was. And Joe was a really nice guy. I got to talk to him on the phone a few times, and in general, he just sounds really cool. So maybe someday I'll get to meet him in person. But he seemed pretty awesome. And Jay's story, Jay's talking about being with his daughter, and he's in a town, and there's one that they see in town is so perplexing to me. But it happens. Like, it's just it's weird. That's what kept coming up with the Michigan stuff, was just how weird some of these were. Terrifying for sure. But yeah, I think every story has a little unique point that sticks out for me. So
Yeah, I mean, that my family story, like I said, when I was little and they told us that, first thing I think, oh, that's a boogeyman story. You don't scare me.
yeah. Yeah.
Then when I'm talking Bigfoot and all these experiences, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute, was that true? Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap. And then that was when I decided I had been very blessed at that point that I hadn't run into one up here.
Mm-hmm.
Because circling back to Steve Cook, as a person who lived here at the time, that song blew this community up. I'm telling you. All in northern Michigan talking about that song. My uncle who lives in Japan, who was one of them that was up on the roof, had a copy of it mailed to him over there in Japan, so he could play it for all the people over there that couldn't hear it, and
That's so cool.
It was awesome and we got to I won't hit it too hard, but the guy that did that hoax film, did you ever hear why he did that?
I feel like I may have. I feel like didn't he do an interview fairly recently with someone?
Yeah, he did one with Kenny and I.
Okay. That's right. That's where I saw it was Kenny. I did not listen to that one yet. And that would have been when there was a discussion, I feel, of as to why that happened. So no, thinking back on it, I came across it. I found out that he did it. I don't remember diving into why, though.
He wanted to, because he was waiting for in 1997 for that song to reignite because of that 10-year cycle. It didn't. So when 2007 rolled around, he wanted to reignite the cycle so the song would get more appreciation.
Gotcha.
So he was hoping to, I mean, according to him, to draw more attention to the song. So
gotcha.
But
yeah, I've seen the film. The running on all fours I don't like it. It looked scary. I mean, he did a good job of making it look creepy, as far as that goes. So
no, well, when I watched it first time I saw it, I went fake, and only because I raised wolf hybrids for several years. And so when his hind end came up to jump, I went, okay, that's a human. Because the wolf's hind end squat and the front end moves. But anyway, did you guys interview Linda Godfrey the same way you did us in a black background, or was that edited in? Because to me, it looked like it was right there, right now in the same building.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there for Linda's interview. I actually never got to meet her, which I'm very sad about. But her interview that I saw in our archives, that was the background that they used. They used dark backgrounds for or he'd used dark background for Beast of Bray Road for some of the interviews, but yeah, that's what hers was like. I think the only difference, if I'm remembering correctly, is that you guys had the little lantern or something like that. Some of the scenes where she doesn't, I don't remember her having any particular light next to her, but yeah, it ended up fitting really well.
Yeah, it was great, and the way the crew treated me down there was they were very nice and spent a lot of time with me after
Yay!
the interview. And but I have to admit, driving as remote as that was, I'm sitting there thinking, if I hear one banjo note, I am out of here.
You know,
I'm
I
back
heard that from everybody, because everybody, because I was talking with the interviewees before and after, as you know, the actual interview itself, because I wanted to make sure that everybody got there and then that it went okay. And everybody that came to that house said the same thing. So it must have been really bad, because that's not something that normally happens, where everybody that shows up has something to say about the location, but everyone mentioned how creepy the place was.
It was, and then when you walk in and you're talking for it, and it's like, okay, now we're going into the basement. What do you mean basement?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know how these horror
Well,
movies works.
that's right. Yeah. Yep. And there's a whole group of people there.
Exactly. I all got cameras, and then this is going to come up on the internet 7 years after I went missing.
Yep.
Oh, that was great, though. So, how can people find this? How can they order it?
Okay. So for Dawn of the Dogman, one, you can order physical copies from the Small Town Monsters web store. Just go to smalltownmonsters.com and go to the shop. It is currently on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google Play. It will be on Tubi soon. End of the month. I don't have an exact date right now, but end of January it's going to be on Tubi. So it will be out there. At some point it will probably be on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to find it.
It's great. I don't watch many movies twice, and it's not because I had an interview. It's because it's storyline is just great. The way you put it together, the way you tie it up with kind of leaving it up to people how they want to feel about it. And could there be a potential of instead of Dawn of the Dogman, Dusk of the Dogman coming up?
Ooh, well, I like that. I like that title. We do have Dogman Legacy that will be coming here next in this year, 2026, as part of the Kickstarter. So we are covering Dogman again, and Dogman Legacy is going to be a broader look, and it's going to coincide with Aaron Deese's next book, Dogman Legacy, as well. And Michigan might make an appearance in that. I can't guarantee it. Aaron's still working on the book, and we're still figuring out some stuff for the movie itself, but there's going to be multiple locations. It's not just going to be one particular area. We're going to cover a lot of ground with that. So
Is there I got to ask on a personal note, is there a Bigfoot of Michigan coming up anytime soon? Or being thrown around?
Okay, so we did Monroe Monster, which is just lower Michigan. It's just right over the border from Ohio.
I know, so
yeah, so we did that. And we have been up there when we have been doing the Heartland Sasquatch series that is on YouTube as well. We were in Michigan for a little bit of that. I am sure we will be back. I'm positive we will be back. We already have some ideas, not concrete enough for me to say what they are, but we do have things that we are absolutely thinking about and hoping, very close to planning on doing.
Okay, because I may know a spot or two involving some sandwich spread that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyway, we got somebody following us, so would you be able to hang out backstage for just a minute while I close her up?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
People,
Thanks for
watch
having
this
me.
show. Find it.
Yes,
Heather gave
please.
you this
Yeah.
ideas. Go see it.
Check out the Kickstarter for.
That's right. We got to help any way we can because the content they are pumping out is amazing. And imagine if they had a bigger budget to do it with, it would be even better. So, got to be able to help them. Okay, I'll talk to you in just a minute. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Please show Heather love. Go over, buy the movie, rent the movie, whatever we need to do. Hit the like button. Go to Small Town Monsters. Like, subscribe. All the good stuff every YouTube channel to do. This is a channel that really deserves it. So give them some love. And with that, as they say on the channel, from coast to coast and around the world, everybody have a good night, and we will see you next week.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No, we're gonna watch and listen.